Knees and toes.
The shoulders have to do with anything.
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Friday, December 12th, 2025. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host Phil. Episode 395. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. You'll want to know that one shortly. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Phil's article, which will be dropping on Tuesday, will break down the upcoming Thunderbirds versus Bandits game, which we're going to preview on this episode. And look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. So if you don't want to hear certain topics, you can just look for the timestamps and it'll place you exactly where you want to be listening. It's a cool little feature that we added years ago, and I think it has helped a lot of people. Reviewing what has happened this week, we did our first team all Bandits draft people. When we put in the description of the episode, please read it. It was a draft, so I didn't have the access to draft Matt Vince, and Phil didn't have the access to draft John Tavares or Dane Smith. That's how drafts work. Once somebody gets picked, the other person can't get them. Weird how that works, but I dominated. Plenty of people saw my side. I think a handful voted for you. Probably because it was Matt Vince on your side. But, yeah, the majority voted for me. So it's another tip in the hat to
Yeah, I think the lack of a draft really threw people off. Like, they didn't understand how you would have both offensive players, and I didn't have them. I was like, well, if you knew it was, one pick and then two picks, and it was either, like I said on the show, it was either you get Vince or you get Johnny and Dane. And you just got to make that decision. I think previously, I let Vince go / let the goalie go for longer, and I just took the offense and let you have the first pick. But this time, I wanted Vince, and yeah, then you get lit up in the comments because people don't understand what a draft is. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, those that didn't listen to the episode exposed themselves. So
yes,
start listening, guys. I was on Talking Buffalo on Monday, which was released on Tuesday. Pat kind of sent a DM to me like Monday around like 10. He goes, hey, last minute, but it's always last minute with you. What are you doing? I was like, I got an interview, but after that, I'm good. He goes, you want to hop on? I was like, okay. So we did that. Then I had to go to Home Depot, but it saved me an hour from not having to be in Home Depot for an extra hour because then we were on a time crunch. Mackie Jenner's interview dropped on Wednesday, about a half an hour, a little bit more than a half an hour. Go listen to that one. We preview Bandits versus Halifax, which we're also going to do, but that side is more Halifax-based because obviously she works for Halifax, sideline reporter, communications manager. So we get a more in. That's what these interview series are. I'm getting somebody from the other team that covers them, that knows more than we do, even though I think we do a pretty good job of doing it, but got to get somebody in enemy territory to
need an insider.
Over. And an insider. But yeah, that dropped on Wednesday. Go give that a listen. And then Power Rankings and Pick'em came out on Thursday. Me and the people, Phil. Me and the people. I can't pass them this week regardless, but me and the people have the same picks. We'll go over that down the road. But coming up, obviously this one drops on Friday. Bandits play on Saturday night. We got a reel coming out on Saturday, which is a big deal for us because we're not like constantly posting crap on social media all the time. And then MVP from the Bandits game will be out on Sunday. But let's start with the episode now, Phil. How about that? Bills, Patriots, prime time game for PK. That means it's a 1 o'clock game. Phil, I think we said it on the last episode. I know I talked about it on Talking Buffalo. This is the most important game to date that has come across their schedule. Like anything that happened before it, anything that's going to happen after it, this to me is their most important game. If they win it, the East is still alive. If they lose it, I'm pretty sure if I'm doing the math correctly, they're toast. Like they can't physically win the East, I don't believe. I believe New England would clinch it and end Buffalo's dominance in that division. But my question to you is, and we can discuss this, if the Buffalo Bills do win on Sunday in Foxborough, can they win the division? And will they, or I guess, and or will they win the division?
Um, there's so many factors that go into it. Obviously, you need to win first. But after that, the Patriots don't have too bad of a schedule. They got the Ravens, who are desperate to win, so I could see them losing that one. But the Bills also have the Eagles, who are also kind of desperate to win, so I could see the Bills losing that one. So the Bills would have to win out for sure. And then New England would have to lose to the Ravens, who the Ravens just haven't looked great all year. I know they're fighting for their playoff lives, and a lot depends on this week as well, because if they lose, their chances take a little bit of a hit. I think they're still in it, but it hurts them quite a bit. So we'll see. I think it'll really depend on, are the Eagles next for the Bills after that?
I'm looking at Patriots schedule, so
yeah. So was I. I'll flip to the Bills. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll go over New England's. They got Buffalo,
Patriots, Browns, Eagles, Jets.
Yeah. So if Buffalo wins on Sunday, that pulls them a game behind New England. New England still has to lose another game for Buffalo to pull even, and then it goes down to tiebreakers, which I believe, unless New England drops one to New York or Miami, I believe Buffalo would lose the tiebreaker, which I believe is the division conference or division record, which New England would have one loss and Buffalo would have two because they also lost to Miami. I can't see New England losing to New York or Miami, which to me answers the question of, is the division over? I said the division was over weeks ago, and New England has done nothing but rattle off, 10 straight wins? The division has been over for a while, but I will say if Buffalo pulls the win out on Sunday, I will officially say they're making the playoffs. Like, I'm not there yet because I've seen what this Buffalo Bills team is capable of, both good and bad. But if they win on Sunday, I will say they're locked into the playoffs. If they win on Sunday, to me it still doesn't matter because I do not see New England. They can. Like, I think New England currently, if anybody wants to talk about their schedule, that's perfectly fine. Whatever. You still got to win the games in front of you, and they've won 10 straight. Bills. To me, New England still has that. Who exactly are they? They got like Drake May, and then they got a bunch of cast-offs. They got, Travion Henderson, who's come on strong the last few weeks. But, Stephon Diggs, who I think can still be a number one, and versus Buffalo definitely will be. But I'm just very much interested to see what Buffalo Bills team we get on Sunday. That to me is the bigger story about a win or loss. If they lose, yeah, I still think they're a one and done in the playoffs. If they win, I still think they're a one and done in the playoffs. But I will say if they win on Sunday, I will guarantee they're making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit last week, that like, what would it take for us to get kind of bought back into the Bills as, I don't want to say Super Bowl favorite, but even making the Super Bowl? They would have to have a flawless end to the year. It's not even just this game. Like, you'd have to win this game and make it look good, not just a last-second win or a huge comeback or a super close win. I think you'd have to have a relatively dominant win against the Patriots, and then you'd have to win out and make all of those look good. Like, beat the Browns because they're below you. In theory, you should be beating them. Beat the Eagles even if it's close because they're former Super Bowl champions and still have a pretty good team even though they're struggling. And then crush the Jets because you should crush the Jets. And then if you win that many games in a row and you beat some top competition like the Patriots and Eagles along the way and you make all of it look pretty good, I'm not going to say I'm bought all the way back in, but I think I could get past one and done at that point. I think, okay, maybe we make it to round 2 and maybe they can go to the finals of the AFC championship at that point because they are starting to bring it together. We've seen them put it all together at the end of a season and go on a huge hot streak, go on a huge run. Maybe that Cincy game was the turning point. I don't think so, but it could be. But yeah, I think it would take, again, you have to win out the rest of the year and make those wins look decent for me to think it's more than a one and done. Now, on the flip side, to be negative, if you go out there and get spanked by the Patriots, good. You're not coming back. You're not even if you make playoffs. You're not going to be able to come back from that. Even the whole offseason, no matter what happens, unless you win it all or beat them in the playoffs after that. Like, good luck coming back from that if you just go out there and get wrecked by the Patriots.
Yeah, I guess my question to you is, you saying in dominant fashion and playing probably above what they've been doing, what does that look like? Well, like, what does the offense have to put up? What does the defense has to hold their opponents to score-wise? Not even like they got to beat them by 25. Like, what do you want to see the offense average? What do you want to see the defense average points against?
Yeah, I think offense I'd want like 24 plus, probably. Maybe even 20, okay. 28 plus.
I thought you were going to say like 35 plus. That's what I need.
In the 30s would be good, but I need the defense to be like 21 and under. Like, just the defense is what I'm more concerned about, and more than anything, dominant fashion would be stop turning the ball over and look clean, play clean. Like, just no ridiculous penalties, no turnovers, less sacks. Like, have it just a good game. Like, it looked like the Bills of last year where they weren't getting sacked, they weren't turning it over, they weren't, called for penalties all that often, where they just had good looking football and won the game because they were the better team, but also played just a clean looking game. I feel like they just haven't done that this year. They look sloppy, they look all over the place. Like, they don't look like a good football team. I need them to go back to that. No turnovers, few penalties, and just look like a good team again. Look like a dominant Bills team that looks like they're not coming back from, what was it, a 9%, 8% chance to win in the fourth quarter. Like, it's fun, sure. Like you said, it's fun to beat Cincy that way, but that's not a good-looking football team. That's thank goodness Josh Allen pulled something out and you got a pick six to end the game and then 2 other interceptions to make sure they couldn't come back and win the game. I mean, that's not a good win. It's a fun win, but it's not a good win. I need a good, solid, they look like the better team the whole way through and play just a clean, good-looking brand of football, not pull it out at the last second, good luck, and congrats on barely winning the game. Like, I'm sick of that kind of victory.
So I looked it up because I hadn't looked at this, and for those that are just tuning in for the first time, sorry, I'm holding in a sneeze. For those that have just tuned in for the first time listening to this Bills coverage, we don't break it down like some other podcasts do. We're not a Bills-centered show. We're a Bandits-centered show. That's why we're kind of just giving our own opinions, talking Bills here. If you're listening to this for like in-depth analysis, you might want to turn it into a different show. But yeah, they're averaging 28.9 points for, and they're averaging 22.5 points against, which is way better than I thought they would be. For me, I'm looking at them to put up consistently 32 plus points a game. Like, you got to increase that by at least 3 points a game. I need you keeping those opponents under 20. Like, if you can keep the opponent under 20, the offense should win. Like, hands down, any team around the league, if your defense can hold an opponent under 20, you should win 9 times out of 10. And the other time, it was just like a random fluke where you're turning the ball over multiple times. I need, if I'm in a perfect world, how I get bought back in, and it's so unrealistic, but this is what I need. I need Josh Allen not to commit turnovers. I need the offensive line to protect Josh Allen so he's not getting hit constantly. I need the offensive line to block for James Cook. I need the wide receivers to get separation, which means Joe Brady needs to get better play designs where the wide receivers aren't running over each other. I need some deep shots. I can't just have this dink and duck type of thing. Take some shots, it opens up the field more. I need defenses to get the stops on third down because their defense only works when you stop them on third downs. Like, if you're letting wide receivers and running backs and tight ends run wide open all the time, but you make the tackles, sure, that's great and all. That defense can work, but you have to get off the field on third down. 10 for 12 versus Cincinnati. They haven't proved that they can do it. Defense has to constantly get turnovers. Like, the field goals have to be nailed every single time. The coaching decisions that we saw from Sean McDermott on Sunday, like last Sunday versus Cincinnati, those need to continue. Like, it's such a long checklist for me to get fully bought back in that this is a Super Bowl contending team that I don't think that they can do it all in 4 games, even in dominating fashion, that I can get bought back in. To me, if you win all 4 games, maybe I can see you winning a game and getting, moving on to the divisional. I just can't see it right now. It's too up and down. I know they were going against Joe Burrow, and I know they were going against Cincinnati's offenses, which is one of the tops in the league. I get that. But the only time he got stops is turnovers. And two of them were tips. Like, yeah, Christian Benford, it was a great play, but it was a tipped interception. AJ Epinesa was a tipped interception by Jordan Phillips. Like, that's the only way they were able to stop Cincinnati. And Sean McDermott proved coverage. It. Yeah, it's not a recipe for success. Sean McDermott proved it by going for it on that fourth down play to get it to Jackson Haas. Almost called him Spencer Haas. I changed it. But even Sean McDermott's seeing, like, it's come to the point where I need a long stretch of games, and I don't think there's enough games to prove to me to get back in. I hope I'm wrong. Like, for all of Buffalo's sake, I hope I am dead wrong and they go through on this massive run. We've seen it before. Josh Allen is unbelievable in December and January, but he's just one man. Like, he had to put on that cape flowing perfectly and get two great interceptions on defense for them to pull that off, that win versus Cincinnati. It's just, I can't see it. There's not enough games that they can stack in a row for them to do that, and that checklist is just so stinking long. Like, I can't see it. I'm hoping. I'm hoping with everything I got, I'm dead wrong. But I guess my other question, because it's been going around, if Buffalo does make the playoffs and they're one and done in the playoff round, like they go on the road to Denver or New England or whoever's they got to head to, because obviously they're not going to win the division. Is Brandon Beane back next year? Like, I think Sean McDermott's back regardless. I do not think that he is getting canned anytime soon. You're going to need like 3 straight misses in the playoffs and Josh Allen to say something for Sean McDermott to get fired. Brandon Beane's a different story. Like, he came second. He was not first. Sean McDermott was the golden ticket pick. He did nail Josh Allen's pick, though. So he's got that in his back pocket. But coming up short, what we've seen from this deteriorated offense, what we've seen from all the investments on the defensive side of the ball that haven't come through, and the defense looks worse than it did in prior years, is Brandon Beane, who is finally getting the criticism that I think he's probably deserved for years, especially from us. Is he back in that position come next year if they're bounced one and done in the playoffs?
I don't think he should be, but I just can't see the Bills making that big of a move.
Fair.
Like,
Yep.
It seems, again, they're so intertwined. Like, even if McDermott came first, I feel like him and Beane are just so tightly knit together that I feel like if one goes, they both go, but I can't see one going and the other staying. And that's not saying that Beane, like Beane should go and McDermott shouldn't. I think they both should go at this point. I think we've both been pretty open about that.
Train
and
for
again,
a while.
it's not that McDermott. It's not that he's a bad coach. He's a good coach. He's just taking them as far as I think he can get them as a head coach. So I think they should both go, but I just think it's too big of a shakeup.
The same slice of pizza from the same spot, even if it is delicious. Yeah. You want to venture out and see what other pizza places have to offer.
Right. It's very true. I don't see them making that big of a shakeup. They should. They should burn it down after this season. I mean, last year was the year that, everything's going to be, we're sitting out this year kind of thing. We got to reset the cap and we'll make some moves next year. This is that year, and they've imploded across the board, whereas last year they looked way better in that tight cap space than they do this year when they were supposedly supposed to have some room to operate and do some things and make some moves, and now they look horrendous, and they've definitely taken a huge step back this year. You lost the division, and I'm like, that alone should be enough where, like, okay, you're no longer the top in the AFC East. Forget the AFC being number one there. Like, you're no longer the best in your 4-team division. That should be enough to be like, okay, well, whatever we're doing isn't working anymore. Like, this is a wake-up call that this isn't it. A team in our own division has now passed us. So what we're doing is we're no longer the top. Like, we are now second place and not winning the division. That should be enough of a wake-up call that this team isn't it anymore, and you need to make some changes. And I'm going to bring up, unless you want to answer your own question, I'm going to bring something up.
Okay, yeah, I just have two things. One, I really liked my pizza analogy. I got to write that down for future
Really?
uses. Thank you. Two, I also don't think he's going to get fired. Like, I think they're a package deal. I think if they're going to go, they're
Kevin
going to go
Adams
together.
still has a job.
Yeah, we're going to go over that in a minute. I think what's going to end up happening is Bobby Babich is going to be the fall guy, even though Sean McDermott's calling this defense. And I think Joe Brady, first offer he gets, he's jumping ship because he sees what's going down here. That if he comes back for another third full season under this, which we've already seen what happened in Carolina, I don't think enough people are hammering that home that he got exposed in year 2 of Carolina. This is full year 2 in Buffalo. If he gets a contract offer, he's got to jump ship. Like Joe Brady, if you want to be a head coach in the league, maybe I'm saying this selfishly, you have to accept whatever offer comes across your desk, because if you're going into year 3, you ain't getting another opportunity. Like, you cannot do this 2 years in a row designing what we're seeing if two people that don't cover this team exclusively can see it on the field. NFL execs can, even though they're really dumb at some point. I think that's going to end up what happening. Whether Joe Brady is back or not depends on what offer, but I think Bobby Babich really is going to be the fall guy.
So this is what I wanted to bring up the other day. I was just randomly thinking about it and figured I'd throw it at you on the show. So Houston, speaking of
I'm terrified.
Points for, points against. Yeah, they're averaging about 22 points a game. Horrendous. Yep. They are averaging 16 points allowed, which is first in the NFL and is amazing. They are 8-5, beat the Bills, beat Kansas City. So that is what the Bills, I would imagine, are trying to build, is that defense. Like, so this was kind of where I was going with this. Take the Houston Texans, put Josh Allen on that team with a Nico Collins, with that defense. Do they have a Super Bowl contending team, like right there? Like a defense of that ability. You have a number 1 wide receiver, and you have a Josh Allen generational talent.
Here's what's terrifying. I think even without Josh Allen right now, they're a Super Bowl contending team, and I wrote them off way too early. Like, I thought they were dead and buried with their start. Even with CJ Stroud, if they get in, what team is going to want to face them? Like, what I'm terrified of with Indy starting freaking Phillip Rivers on Sunday and the Jaguars being Jaguars, if Houston gets into that divisional and Buffalo has to head to Houston for round 1, dude, kiss your season goodbye. You're done. Like, if Buffalo faces Houston once in this playoffs, like, they're the equivalent of having to face Cincinnati or Kansas City in the playoffs. They're done. Like, there's that offensive line. Yes, Dawkins and Spencer Brown were not playing up to 100% capabilities because of injuries and whatever else. They're toast. Like, there's no chance. That defense ran Patrick Mahomes freaking nuts. They ran Josh Allen in the ground. Like, it's not happening. Like, that should be their number 1 worry. They have to root for freaking Arizona on freaking Sunday. Like,
yeah, they're not.
And the Jets to lose to Jaguars. Like, they have to be rooting for Jaguars the rest of the season because they cannot let Houston get into that spot to host a playoff game. It can't happen. They're done. They're done if they face Houston in the playoffs.
But like, I have to imagine that, like, that's the kind of team that Bean is imagining that he's building.
He's been trying for 8 years, though, man.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that's what he wants, is like, you have this generational QB, so you don't have to touch the offense. They can stink. Like, they can have average players that you build around Allen, and it's going to be good enough. And Cook is not an average player. We just don't talk about him because it's all about the wide receivers. He's great. But you have a QB that can do whatever you want on the offense, so you don't need him. You don't need to support him all that much because you have him. But you need to make the defense as good as Houston's defense. I feel like that's like his image of the Buffalo Bills. That's what he's been trying to build for years, and he can't do it. And then you got Houston over here looking incredible. And again, like, I know you're already saying they're Super Bowl. Like, put Josh Allen on Houston right now. Yeah. Are they like Super Bowl favorites with that defense and the offensive talent they have, which
they're
is
fighting
enough.
For the number 1 seed.
Right. Like, it's just so frustrating that there's a prime example of what is trying to be built in Buffalo but has been failed miserably.
Yes.
On a different team. Like, if you just give them Josh Allen, everybody's horrified of Houston. I mean, like you said, they already are, but that's what the Bills have been trying to build, is this elite defense with a generational QB, and that's all you need in this league. And in theory, that's right if it's built correctly, and Houston has somehow figured that out, and the Bills are here.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think Brandon Beane has the offense he wants if they commit less turnovers, the run game,
Yes.
occasional passing. I believe he
Yes.
has the offense that he wants. He doesn't have the defense he wants. That's because you pay Gregory
And he
Rousseau
can't
$20
build
million.
it.
That's because you pay Terrell Bernard millions of dollars and he's regressed. That's because you got a depleting Matt Milano. You have nobody opposite of Christian Benford right now. You have maybe a Cole Bishop type a player in the safety room, but you're relying on Jordan Poyer. You have
Right.
Walker up the middle, but he's got some pieces. But again, you pay good players, you can't afford to pay great players. It goes back to that. But that went a little bit longer than I thought it would, but that's fine. Sabres. I don't want to talk about the games. Lindy Ruff, and we talked about this on Talking Buffalo. Lindy Ruff sounds like he's fed up with the 3 goalie situation. I don't know what took him so long. They sent down Noah Ostlund because there's no room. Like they needed another defenseman in this West Coast trip because they only had 6. So the one player, and he goes, has nothing but performance. Like I loved his play. We just didn't have room. Like you're carrying 3 goaltenders. It's pathetic.
And then, none of them are good.
And then what's funnier, and it's not funny because he got hurt, but Zucker gets hurt. So he can't go on Monday. And then, of course, Josh Norris is back for more than 2 or 3 games, so obviously he gets hurt. So he can't go on Tuesday. So you set down one of your better forwards that has playmaking ability and Noah Ostlund, who you need to see if he's actually an NHL player, down because you're carrying 3 goaltenders who, guess what? Colton Ellis got hurt. Like, it's insane what's going on here. But there's whispers now, there's smoke now that Kevin Adams' job's on the line. Maybe because Terry Pegula actually has a pulse and is looking at the team. Doubt it. Maybe somebody got in his ear. Doubt it. But I still don't know if Kevin Adams, what's the whispers is Kevin Adams probably not getting fired. He's probably getting reassigned in the organization because they love him so much. I don't care. The issue with this team is, and this is why I've been saying that they're never going to make the playoffs again, because the person that is pulling the strings is the frickin' owner. Who's going to be doing the hiring, Phil, to replace Kevin Adams? It's Terry Pegula. Like, I don't trust what he's doing. Like, he's a buffoon. He's a buffoon. I remember the day that he bought the Buffalo Sabres. I was still living at home with my parents. And I told my dad flat out, I went, my biggest worry right now with Terry Pegula is he's too big of a fan. He's going to fall in love with his players too much and is not going to be able to make the tough decisions and allow his GM to trade those players. Holy crap, was I wrong? He's just so bad at talent evaluation. He doesn't know how to pick leadership. Like, this organization is the laughingstock of the entire sports world. Like, pick any sport you want. The Buffalo Sabres are the laughingstock of it. The only team that currently has an active drought for the playoffs longer is the New York Jets. Guess how many teams make the playoffs in NFL?
We got to keep hanging on into that.
7. Like, 8 make it. That's an extra team. And in the COVID year, 28 teams made it, and you missed it. Like, I'm so done. Like, the hope that Kevin Adams even gets fired isn't there anymore. The light has been burned out for years because the guy that's going to be doing the hiring is Terry Pegula, and he doesn't know what a hockey puck is to a bouncy ball. Like, it's so frustrating because any hope is gone because that's who's going to be doing the next hiring. And Carmona, or whoever the assistant GM is that they hired underneath Kevin Adams, Columbus Blue Jackets, how many rings does he have? 0. Like, that's all. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with him.
Tell us how you really feel. I will say, and I don't think he's going to be a Sabre for long. I don't know his contract off the top of my head, but Josh Doan looks fantastic. I love him as a player. I think he was a great acquisition. And I don't think he'll be with the Sabres too long because he's going to want to go somewhere where he can win. But he just, I don't know, he's a great player. I feel like he deserves a shout out. I feel like he plays how we talked about it a lot.
He's an RFA next year.
Okay, well, RFA status is hard to get away from. So
is it though? JJ Peterka.
That's true. Well, hopefully for his own sake, he makes a lot of noise and goes somewhere else. He seems really good for a young player. He seems to play how I want the entire team to play, and they don't. But yeah, I like Doan quite a bit for a young guy, and that came over in the trade as far as giving Adams anything. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty over this team again, and here we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Three
They're
goalies,
playing.
none of them are good.
They're playing Vancouver Thursday. Then I think they're home versus Seattle. I don't even care. Yeah.
No.
This is why I wanted to write them off the show. Maybe we'll have a party next week when Kevin Adams gets fired and it's the same turd burger. But before we move into the second half of the show, what's up?
I would say like you mentioned it off podcast that even if Adams is fired, like no matter who's even hired, but like what are you gonna do to fix the team? Like like what like a GM coming in, like don't get me wrong, I want Adams gone, but there's no like magic like thing that you can just wave a wand and be like, okay, team's all better. Like I don't know what you do with this team to instantly, even with a new GM, like make it somehow a playoff contender, because it's more about attitude than anything. Like they just don't try hard enough every single night, like a team that is trying to make playoffs and hasn't made it for 14 years. They just don't have the effort night in and night out, and they don't seem to get it. And I don't think a new GM bring someone in is going to really accomplish that. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, how many coaches, how many GMs have we gone through and going to be 15 years?
Nothing's changed.
It's the same problem. Like, you can listen to anybody that's said it over the last 15 years. They don't give effort every night, and it's so stupid. Stop going to the games, people. Like, sell your season tickets. Like, stop supporting this team. Like, even if you're worried they're going to move, let some other city deal with them. I'm sick of them. Okay, let's go into our first sponsor of the show, Tap That Tap Room. Phil, take it away.
Tap That Tap Room's at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York. They are Buffalo's first women-owned Southport bar featuring 30 consistently rotating taps. That is a lot of taps. If you don't know, it's a lot of options of beers, ciders, sours, seltzers, and malt beverages.
Sorry, ran out of fingers.
Counting.
Can't count that high.
Still counting.
Friday, 5 to 7 is happy hour. Get down there and then stay the rest of the night with DJ Nightlight. 7 to 12, check out their Facebook page because they post what the music option is that night leading up to it. Then, Saturday, if you don't have tickets to the game, you don't have tickets to get into the bank, don't worry. Tap That Tap Room. Free admission. Get down there. They have the Bandits game on every single television, and the sound is on every single television. Don't worry, they're all synced up. You're not going to find like a 5-second delay on any of them. Bandits, Thunderbirds, 7 p.m., drink specials all night long, and a giveaway at halftime. What is it? I don't know. Get down there and find out yourself. They are the place to be if you do not have a ticket and you want to watch the game with a bunch of other Buffalo Bandits fans. Tap That Tap Room does it right. They do it better than anyone else. You might see those ads for other places to go. Throw them in the garbage. They don't matter. Go to Tap That Tap Room. They're the best place. Find out what else they got coming up. Check out their Facebook page and find out what's on tap and what's on deck. Check out tapthattaproom.com because they have something
for everyone.
Still waiting for my paychecks, Phil. We got to talk to them about that. TM, by the way.
Bandits. At least give me a shirt, you know?
Something. With the saying on it. I'll make my own shirt. I'll start selling my own shirt. Bandits versus Thunderbirds. First of 2 this year. The next is February 14th, 2026, Phil. That year is just... God, it's creepy. In the nest for game 2, Bandits are 1-0, Thunderbirds 1-0. This season, Buffalo is averaging 15 goals. Last year was 13.45, first in the league. Halifax this year is 11. Putrid little 11. Last year, 13.28, second in the league. Goals against, Buffalo's at 11. Last year, 10.83, which was third. Halifax, 2. They're averaging 2. Last year, 11.83 goals against, 11th. Special teams. Last year, Buffalo was down at 11th on the power play. Halifax was 3rd. Penalty kill, though, last year, they were roughly the same. Buffalo was 6th. Halifax was 5th. So, Phil, I can see a lot of scoring getting done in this game between these two offenses.
Yeah, I think we might get a similar game to game 1 against Georgia. I think for different reasons. I think it'll happen in much different ways. I think game 1, to me, was a lot of shaking the rust off. It looked like a game 1 from both sides of things. I think the defense and Vince really figured out in the second half. I think they allowed 2 goals for the final 29 minutes of the game. So I think they really dialed it in and kind of shook everything off. And I think the offense looked good. But I think this is obviously a much bigger competition. So I think it'll be a similar scoreline to game 1, but for a much different reason.
So last year they won in Banditland 15-12. It was a back and forth affair all night, 6-6 at half, 10-10 after 3. It was 12-12 and 9:45 to go, and then Buffalo would put in the last 3. Shots on goal, 63-48 in favor of Halifax. The faceoffs also went to Halifax, 22-9. So all of you that say faceoffs matter, that one is in your back pocket of no, they don't. Last year, Peterson really killed him, 3, 4, and 7 on 16 shots. Stotts 4, 5, and 9 on 14 shots. As you can see, and as we're going to go over, they're lefty heavy, but righty dominant. Hill started in that one, 33 of 48 saves, but the defense was just 4 caused turnovers and 10 block shots. For Buffalo, McKay, 2, 1, and 3, Byrne, 4, 4, and 8 on 15 shots. Priolo got in with 3 points. This was one game where Matisse got involved in the transition game. We'll talk about him in a bit. 4 assists. Scanlon was involved. Bucky had 4. Smith, 10 assists in this one. And Mad Vince, 51 of 63 saves. But for Buffalo's defense, 11 caused turnovers and 11 block shots. Their defense got the better than Halifax defense got of Buffalo's offense. So really last year, I can see, honestly, a repeat of what we saw last year coming through this year.
Yeah, one of the bigger things that sticks out, not just the caused turnovers, but the shots on goal. 63 for Halifax is a very high number, especially compared to just 48 for Buffalo. So seems like they may have dominated possession, may have dominated shots, but obviously Vince stood on his head and does what he does best. But I think we could see a very similar score line when we go over the offense. I'll bring up something interesting from game 1, but I think it's just going to be it's going to be a heavyweight fight. Like, no matter what people think of Halifax, I think across the board they're a pretty good team. It's just goaltending that was the question mark heading into the season. And Hill, I mean, after one game, it's just one game, so you don't want to too overreact. But I mean, tying the record for the least amount of goals allowed in a game is a pretty big deal. It's not like he only allowed 6 or 7. Like, it was a good game for him. It was an amazing game, and a lot of the saves he made were really, really big saves. So if he can dial that up again, I think it'll be a really good game. Yeah,
last year, 63 was the second most amount of shots they gave up. The first was Rochester with 68 in the game 3, when Matt Vince absolutely stood on his head and made 62 saves. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good he is. We'll go over the offense for Halifax. Like I mentioned, they're going to go lefty strong. They go typically 4 lefties. I've seen them put out 5 lefties at some points, but they're righty dominant. Like, you look at all the stats last year, they were righty dominant. And what I mean by that is the point producers are coming from the righties on the offense. You know, we got Brendan Bomberry, who is likely going to slide into that third righty spot now that Thomas Hogarth went down. Last I saw, they were still going over what his injury actually is, how to determine the time length, but it was non-contact, man. It didn't look good. He went down, did not come back. He needed help getting off the field. Really stinks for that side. Really stinks for that side. But I fully expect Brendan Bomberry, who they brought in, likely to relieve Randy Stotts if he wasn't healthy enough to start. Then they were running him out the back door. So I think he just slides right in, and he's played with a lot of these guys in summer ball. But Clark Peterson, 100-point season last year. Randy Stotts, 102-point season last year in just 17 games. I think if Halifax is going to beat Buffalo, it's going to be because of Randy Stotts and Clark Peterson putting up 7-8 points each. Like, if they're able to do that, I think Halifax is walking out with a W.
Yeah, I think Stotts is the most interesting one on that side because he came into the season possibly, it was looking like we didn't know if he was going to be ready to start the year because of an offseason injury. So for him to go into game 1, like, there was still question marks. Like, it was, headed in game 1, everyone said it looked like he was good to go, but you never know how a player actually is until you get to that first game, or you get to that final roster decision, you see that he's active, and for him to go out game one and look as healthy as he did with a 2.35 stat line, like that's really good for him, and scary for the league for him to be that ready. I mean, for him to not even knowing how much practice he got in, how much preseason he got in, like how much he really was ready to go because of the injury. So to see him be able to kind of shake the rust off that quickly and already have that big of an impact is a bit scary for that right side.
Yeah, so for the lefties, they had Cody Jamieson, Jason Knox, Mike Robinson, and Dawson Thied running out the front door for the lefties. They also have Will McLeod. It's going to be very interesting to see if he gets in the lineup for game 2 or if he's going to be left cooking in the background for a few games leading up to until he's finally ready, because he was the 12th overall pick this last draft. But Mike Robinson came on strong last year. He was playing a little bit out the back door, made drastic improvements in his offensive game. I mean, Mackey in the interview said that Pat Gregoire likes to refer to him as like the party starter, because when the goals start flowing, he's usually one that starts it. But Dawson Thied, man, like I talked him up in the interview. I talked about it last year. I love this guy, dude. I did the math. He only played in 12 games last year, put up 32 goals. That's a 48 goal pace. Like if he kept that pace up and scored 48 last year, that's second to the lefty scorers behind just Jeff T. Like that's how deadly he is. And what I'm afraid of is him getting matched up with a guy like Paul Dawson, or him getting matched up with if Taylor Dooley's still in the lineup somehow. He can just bowl people over, and he's got the footwork. So he can either bowl over a guy like Taylor Dooley or dance around a Paul Dawson. I think really, I know I said if Halifax is going to win, it's going to be Peterson or Stotts.
He's changing his mind.
I'm switching it mid podcast here. If Dawson puts up 5 or 6 points, I think Halifax wins it. I think you need to limit what Dawson Thied does on the left-hand side. If you're able to limit him to a goal and an assist, I think Buffalo's in really good shape.
Yeah, Dawson on Dawson action should be a good time. But yeah, no, the one goal he had where he picked it out of the air with like one hand on his stick, was able to pick it up and still get a great shot off and scored in the first game. It looked really impressive. And yeah, he's a big boy, but even that goal especially, and I know he's much better. This is not, I'm not trying to take shots at him, but was it Brandon Robinson?
Yes.
He reminds me of just him, like for his big size, can get in there, can muck it up, but he has a little bit better goal scoring. But we've seen, like when we saw Brandon Robinson, he had the goal scoring like that, where he has just this soft touch out of absolutely nowhere. Like he just has highlight reel goals. You're like, where's this guy pulling this out of? Because you just don't expect it from that kind of player. But Thied has that ability, like you said, he's got the footwork ability, but he's also got the I'm just going to run right through you kind of ability. He's a really, really fun player to watch and play. And I think, like you said, Jameson had the better game in game 1, but I could see Thied being the big difference maker in the game against the Bandits.
Yeah, so the big question marks, Zach Belter's likely in. I know you interviewed him on Saturday. It sounds like he's probably going to be back, especially with going on IR, getting that extra rest plus the bye week. Can those lefties hold up? If you do get Belter back, I think that's a huge boost to the left-hand side, because Desnew played a lot. Like, he played a ton in game 1 versus Lyle, did a fantastic job. Cam Wires played a ton. I think you need another Zach Belter back there, not just because he's, a bigger defenseman, but because he's one of your better lockdown defenders back there, that this is the game where you really need him. Lyle, yeah, that's one guy. Mitch Desnew did a fantastic job. But now they got Peterson. Now they got Stotts, and Bomberry can put up with 57 points last year is no slouch. I think you need a Zach Belter back there to have any type of success to stop these righties. But we'll go over the defense / transition for Halifax.
Before we switch to the defense, for the offense in game 1, just thought this was interesting in my little breakdown when I watched the game. They scored 11 goals, which looks really good. But if we do some math here, they had 3 empty net goals, 2 power play, 1 shorthanded, and 2 in transition. So that's 8 goals kind of coming in different ways, and only 3 goals came from a true kind of even strength setup offense. So I think that'll be really interesting to see in game 2. If you can limit their power play, limit their transition. I mean, I know Doug Jameson for Oshawa, he did play well. I think he had a couple that he would want back, but for the most part, I thought he played a really good game. But Matt Vince can do the same thing. So it'll be interesting to see if Halifax's offense can put up more of a fight, because if it's going to be all kind of in their special teams transition kind of scoring, and their even strength offense doesn't really have it, then I think it's going to be a huge advantage to Buffalo in that kind of situation.
Yeah, so we'll go over the defense in transition. It's very similar names. I mean, Colton Armstrong's still back there. Tyson Bell's still back there. Bo Hunter went from out the front door to the back door now. Graham Hossick's back there. Pearson, Tarafanko, Thompson's probably back from his suspension. Withers is back there. But a big name that's going to be missing on the back end, Trevor Smith. And if you listen to the show for years, you remember a couple of off seasons ago, I was like, man, Trevor Smith just looks like he's ready to explode. And then last year he did, and I'm like, Buffalo just blew the chance not to get him. Max Wilson played in just 7 games last year. He was questionable in game 1. Let's see if he's back in this one for this one. But another guy is Ethan O'Connor. I mean, we know him from his time in Buffalo. He's coming in, helping out with the special teams. He's a shot blocking machine back there. This defense, if they're able to stay out of penalty trouble, is a very good team. If they can just play disciplined, I am a little concerned with how Buffalo's offense is probably still going to put up 11, 12 goals. No question. But is that going to be enough versus Halifax? That's going to be my question. Like, the biggest questions really are, are we going to see more from Ryan Benesh? Are you going to see more from Daho Kananakok? I know he had 2 goals, but the one was really in transition, and the other one was the sloppiness in front of the net. I thought in game 1 we would see more from him. I think with how deadly their transition game is, we saw Buffalo get a bit exposed, especially in the first half versus Georgia. I think Halifax has got a better, I know Halifax has got a better transition game than Georgia does. I mean, the face-off wins versus Withers. You need to be prepared for that because Withers got the best of Farrell. And Withers, when he wins it clean, he wants to go in and put a shot on net. You cannot give up those goals. Tarafanko, one of the best in the games. Like, if you can get off quick, that's perfect. But in those long changes where it's a long run back to the bench, you need to make sure those guys are like, hey, remember who we're playing. And then my last question is, are they going to run the 8 forwards again, though? Like, there's no way they're going to run 8 forwards again, right? I know it worked, and they won, and they put up 15 goals. I just didn't like it. It didn't look like normal Buffalo Bandits ball. I'm hoping that's not the case. Like, and if it is, I think I would like to see Triolo in over Nielsen, just based on Halifax's defense and how physical they are.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Sorry.
Is this the game that Triolo kind of steps in because of Halifax's defense being a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical, and not to shoot him down? I think he still has a bright career, but Nielsen in game 1 didn't look great, and Triolo is the veteran out there. I think he could step in and just be that guy. Like you said, especially in this kind of game with a big physical defense, you might need that guy out there just mucking it up and creating those shooting lanes for the offense. So I think that'll be interesting. And like you said, like, Nanako didn't look great in game 1, or at least his role didn't change. It's not that he looked bad, but his role was still the same. His shots didn't really go up. So I think that'll be a huge, interesting thing to see. Like, does he become more of a shooter, or are they just keeping him in his same role? And what we saw in game 1, and even what Dane Smith said after game 1, is that he's going to put a lot more emphasis this year on scoring goals, and he goes out there and puts up 4 goals. So he clearly still has that ability. Is it going to be more on Dane this year to be a goal scorer and switch his mentality a little bit away from the assist record that he continues to break and being a little bit more on the goal scoring side of things? Or are they going to hope Nanakok steps up? Benesh played with this team for 2 years pretty recently, so is he going to want some former teammate revenge? He doesn't really seem all that much like that kind of guy, but might be a little extra fire for him. No, he's not really that guy. He's too nice. He's a real nice guy. But yeah, no, it'll be a really tough battle for the Bandits, especially if Hill can play like he did. But I think it'll be just a really good early season test for the Bandits as a whole. Like, this whole game, the offensive side, the defensive side, the Bandits had some turnover, as we know, in the offseason. I think this is a really good test to see kind of where they're at this early in the season.
Yeah, and I fully expect it's going to be Warren Hill in net. I mean, how do you not go back to him when he's a record-setting goaltender and when it's Bob Watson and Matt Vince that you tie a record of? It's only happened 2 other times. It's ridiculous. 2 goals. Like, he held them, scored. I know we went into it. I'm not going to go too much into it, but over 46 minutes of no goals from Oshawa, who I know is struggling to put the ball in the back net, but still, it's 2 goals in the NL.
It
it's
was
ridiculous.
49 saves. That's not
Yeah,
nothing. And 7
the,
power plays as well.
Yeah,
which is just ridiculous.
It's insane. Yeah, Warren Hill, if he gets dialed in and he's playing like that this year, I think Halifax is a title contender. If they get the goaltender that they got last year, goaltending that they got last year, I think they're a playoff team probably, but I don't think they're going to make much noise. If they get consistent, and that was one of the questions I asked Mackie, is Warren Hill on the trajectory that we saw Frank Chiliano last year, where he finally got consistent play and the numbers followed and he won goaltender of the year? If that's Warren Hill's trajectory, I think you possibly see Halifax in the playoffs. But I mean, I fully expect him in net. I think you got to get to him really early. Like, you got to put 2 or 3 past him in the first quarter. And even then, he just showed in game 1 he can shut it down. And he was so relaxed in net. Like, you saw the zoom ins on the smiles leading up to the commercials where he's just like, I don't know how I made that save. If he's playing like that, you're in trouble. But really, it comes down to me. And I think it really comes down to what Mackie said on the episode. Special teams are probably going to play a big part in this, and this is kind of what she said.
Yeah, I feel like these teams are fairly like evenly matched in terms of, settled plays, pretty good goaltending, especially the way the Warren played, pretty solid as well. Lethal shooters, great defensive core. But I think special teams is something that, I was thinking and I was like, okay, both of these teams can kind of get unhinged in terms of penalty minutes sometimes and the disciplinary factor. So I'm like, okay, is that a point? Power play for Halifax, they were 3rd last year and Buffalo was 12th, which is just mind boggling thinking about, some of those offensive minds that they have.
Oh, we know. Yeah.
Yeah. Pain point for you guys. But, I think that that's an area that, Halifax does come in with an advantage. And then also kind of on the flip side, they led the league in shorthanded goals last year. So I think you can never kind of, put your foot on the break at all when going up against a special team for, when Halifax is out there, whether they're shorthanded or not. And so I really do think that that's one like very nitpicky small area, but I do think that that is an area that they do have an advantage of.
So that's what we say all the time. For an underdog to come into Bandit land, you can't give them those opportunities. And Buffalo was pretty smart in game 1, staying out of the box. They definitely got to stay out of the box and maybe get a little bit under Halifax's skin and get them to the box and maybe write this power play for the first time in a while. But Phil, prediction time. And as we do our NLL pick'em, we do the percentages now. Like, that's another addition that I think I've liked, and it was kind of a little idea I had. And I was like, hey, can we add this to the graphic? Just because, like, if you just see, okay, they picked him, but how much? How many people were that smart? 92% of people pick Buffalo. I think that's going to be a common theme a lot this year. Because we're a Bandits.
It's a great strategy.
It's a great yeah. Phil's can attest to that. It's a great strategy just to pick.
Never pick them to lose, and you're doing all right.
So Phil, prediction time. Are you going with what we said on the NLL pick'em, or are you switching it up to hedge your bet here? What is your prediction for this game?
No, I got them winning. 2 quick things that I'm really excited to see in this game. One is Farrell against Withers. Withers, we all know, is the man. But how much has Farrell really improved in these first couple seasons? I think this will be another great test point for him. And I don't think Desnu can really follow up what he did game 1 with anything much better. But to have some practices under his belt with the team, know the system, and actually have some just general practice behind him now that his situation's all sorted out. I'm excited to see what he looks like again in game 2, but I don't know how you do any better than he did in game 1 already, but interested to see what he looks like now that he's been with the team for a couple practices. But prediction, I'm going 13-10. I think the Bandits offense will do enough. I think that they were one of the better teams at shutting transition down last year, so I feel like with the coaching staff, they were going to take a look at what happened against Georgia and be like, hey, knock it off. This can't happen again. They were really good against transition last year. Obviously, everyone knows Halifax's transition is huge, so I think that'll be a big point of emphasis for the coaching staff, for the players. So I think I still expect Halifax to get 1 or 2 and definitely some opportunities, but I think Buffalo will really focus in and dial in on that. And if that's the case, I think the Bandits' defense and goaltending is just better than what Halifax offense can produce.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Halifax comes in and pulls the upset. I think they have the
Agreed.
team that can do it. We saw it 2 years ago when we were at Tap That Tap Room. Again, go there for the watch party if you're not going to the game.
It was sad.
But yeah, the Hutchinson came in and kind of just locked it down. Like Halifax
Very
has
strange.
the team that's
Very
capable
strange.
of beating Buffalo. There's not a ton of teams out there that have the ability, and I think Halifax is one of them. When I was looking at the because in one of the Discord chats we're in, I was the one person posed the question like, what upset do you see happening? And I'm like, Calgary over Toronto, but is that really an upset at this point? Like Toronto kind of struggled in game one. Halifax came on and put in 13. But really, the only other one I can see is maybe Halifax upsetting Buffalo. So I can see it, but I'm not predicting it. I think it's going to be a 13-12 victory Buffalo's way. I'm learning from my mistakes after doing all the math for all of our picks the last 5 years. But yeah, Phil's got him winning 13-10. I got him winning 13-12. I'll be up in the box this game covering them. Phil's going to be in a seat for the first time this season after doing photo work. But one of us more than likely will be in the box every game this year to cover the team. But we'll move on to the milestones. Fastest milestone minute. I did pretty good last week, but the team did not. All these possible milestones can be found on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. We post them leading up to each and every game. So if you missed one when I'm lightning quick through these and you don't want to listen back, you can find them there when we post them. Phil, there's like double what there were last week. So, Bandits, let's go. Get some milestones so I can stop reading so many. Here we go. If Kyle Buchanan plays on Saturday, it will be his 200th NLL game. Ian McKay is 1 goal away from 100 for his career. He averages .98 a game. Mike Trillo is 3 points away from 100 for his career. He averages 2.11 a game. Thomas Whitty is 2 loose balls away from 300 for his career. He averages 4.89 a game. Connor Farrell is 11 loose balls away. I'm sorry. Yes. Oh man, I'm already struggling. Connor Farrell is 11 loose balls away from 200 for his career. He averages 7.27 a game. Steve Perillo is 3 penalty minutes away from tying Patrick Merrill for 8th place in NLL history. He averages 2.39 a game. Token Anacoke is 2 goals away from tying Roger Weiss for 10th place in Buffalo Bandits history. He averages 1.56 a game. Ian McKay is 3 goals away from tying Roger Weiss for 10th place in Buffalo Bandits history. As you already know, he averages 9.98 a game. Connor Farrell is 8 faceoffs away from tying Brandon Francis for 4th place in Buffalo Bandits history. He averages 28.23 a game. I struggle this time, but I beat the clock.
You did.
Good.
You did.
Good.
Even with the flubs. I forgot that Brandon Francis did so many faceoffs. He was just an absolute monster fighting literally everybody that was on the field. But I forgot about his faceoff abilities. Ian McKay passing Token and Anacoke in general sounds pretty funny. With how close they both are to Roger Weiss, but McKay coming out of absolutely nowhere. Mr.
Helps
Defense himself just crushing the offense is just really interesting to physically see as a milestone.
742 faceoffs from Brandon Francis, as a heads up.
That's wild.
NLL
He
outlook
couldn't ban fighting.
for week 3, full slate of games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, it's going to be a fun
Most
time.
of them.
Fun time, and all 14 teams are in action for the first time this year. So the teams that have yet to play yet are finally going to get in on the action. Friday, 7:30. Phil, we're going to do rapid reaction, 30-second, what you're looking for. Saskatchewan, 1-0, heading to 0-1 Ottawa. All of our picks were on Saskatchewan, and the people's picks, 88% on Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I think Saskatchewan's just more dialed in. They're ready. They had a shaky-ish victory in game 1. I think they're going to turn around, but I just don't think Ottawa's that team yet. Saskatchewan's too polished at this early point in the season.
Yeah, see if Jake Naso's back for the faceoff dot. I think Saskatchewan just had a shaky second half. I don't expect to see that again moving forward. And then Ottawa, can they get the goal scoring from both sides? Jeff Teat was a little bit quiet, and his shot was not falling in game 1. And then Chiliano, what do we see? Does he have a nice bounce back game? Saturday, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, 1-0 Colorado faces the 0-0 Philadelphia Wings. No Mitch Jones with the Philadelphia Wings anymore. All of our picks are on Colorado, and this was the biggest lock of the week at 93% of people's picks are on Colorado.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the big upset in week one was Colorado over Vancouver. I think Colorado looked really good. We'll see if it continues. I think that's kind of the biggest thing I'm looking for in this game. You and I don't know about everybody, but you and I have Philly very low this year. They have some young pieces, but I don't believe in them very much. So we'll see if Colorado can come out that strong against a weaker opponent and look that dominant, or if Philly can kind of pull some kind of wild upset early in the season. But Colorado could be an early season surprise starting the season so well.
Yeah, I know last class was talking about it. I noted the other day, Caleb Martin called up for the practice squad as a third goalie. What does that mean? Dylan Ward traveling, or is it Nate Whittam? That's going to be interesting to follow. Philly, what do they even look like? And then the only other thing I'm looking for is, can they spell Will Malcolm's name right on his jersey for the first time all season? Saturday, 7 p.m., half an hour before, same time. The 7:30 times for Buffalo Bandits this season are confusing. I know they boosted last week back because of coverage, but 7 o'clock, 0-1 Calgary heads to the 0-1 Toronto Rock. One team will get their first victory of the year. Our picks, everyone's on Toronto. 77% of people's picks. Phil, thoughts on this game?
This one, to me, is all about Calgary. Well, it's about both of them. Toronto's offense, for sure, needs to figure something out. Can't just be the young guns doing everything. Their veterans need to step up, but Calgary's defense looked horrible, and their goaltending looked horrible in game one. So against a potentially weaker Toronto offense, can Calgary's defense and goaltending step it up and flip the switch, or is Toronto's offense going to have a field day? And kind of like, which team is it going to be the get-right game for this early in the season? Going to be Toronto's offense or Calgary's defense? Calgary's offense looked really good, but so did Toronto's defense and Nick Rose. I think Nick Rose needs to have a little bit of a bounce back, but again, he only let in, 8 goals in game one, so nothing really to be upset about. But Calgary's offense came out on fire, so can they continue that against a really tough Toronto defense and goaltending?
Yeah, can the righties even out that offense for Toronto? And then can Aiden Walsh be that guy? Is he that guy, Phil? Is he that guy?
Is he that guy?
But yeah, maybe Bennett Smith's back for the defense. That would help Calgary a ton. But yeah, their offense with Calgary surprised me a bit. I know Frank Chiliano struggled a bit, and Saskatchewan kind of took the foot off the gas a bit, but I think Calgary's going to be better than a lot of people. I still I think I said that last episode. I still expect them to win 5 or 6 games, but I think they're going to be a tough out. Half an hour after that, Saturday, 7:30, 1-1 Oshawa heads to the 0-1 Georgia Swarm. Our picks, Phil, you took Georgia. Me and the people's picks took Oshawa. People, this was the closest one though at 56%.
Yeah, Oshawa to me it looks horrible. Until they prove me otherwise, I don't really believe in Georgia either right now. But until Oshawa figures out what the heck is going on with their offense, I just trust Brett Dobson to kind of figure it out. And Georgia had a really good game against Buffalo. I know, again, it was game one. It was a little bit fluky and weird, but I thought their offense looked good enough. Lyle Thompson looked not good. He was shut down really badly, but I can expect a bit of a revenge game from him starting the season that slow. I think he's going to want to come out on fire. So I think Georgia, to me, I think it'll be close. I think Doug Jamieson for Oshawa is playing incredible and is the main reason they're hanging around any of these games. But I think to me, Georgia can just pull. I would consider it an upset, I think, but Oshawa's offense has looked scary bad. I know Hill played really, really well, and they ran into Nick Rose. Like, they had a really tough start to the season. Now Brett Dobson's not any easier, but their offense just seems wrong right now. Something seems off with it, and until they have a good game, I think I might be betting against them.
Yeah, they need to win this one because the following week they got Christian Del Bianco. Then they get a bye. Then they go to Ottawa, which is a winnable game. But then they get Halifax again in Warren Hill. Like, this is if Oshawa wants to make the playoffs and be where we think they can be,
can't start
it's a must
1-4.
It's a must win. They have to win this one. They have to get the offense right. This is a get right game for Oshawa. I think they will, but the game will play out and we'll find out. Saturday, 10 p.m. 0-1 Las Vegas. I'm sorry, 0-0 Las Vegas. 0-1 Vancouver. All the picks are on Vancouver at 81% with the people. Team here is getting their first win of the season as well.
I think it'll just be fun. More than anything, I'm just excited to watch. There's a lot of talent on that field. New look Las Vegas. What does their offense look like? Everyone's eyes are going to be on that. And it's a really tough test to start the year for that young, revamped offense against Vancouver, who is looking to bounce back, who is being yelled at by their coach that they aren't ready, they aren't good enough. And we'll see what their Vancouver kind of can do on their offense. If there's ever going to be a get-right opportunity for their offense, this is it. Their defense was already good. Christian Del Bianco's already good. But can Las Vegas do enough in what I guess could be a high-scoring game if Las Vegas comes out on fire and steal one from Vancouver? I don't see it, but it is possible.
Yeah, quick things here. I don't think it's possible. There's no way Vancouver loses this one and falls to 0-2 with all the expectations and Kurt Malowski as the head coach. And the second thing I'm looking for is how quick is Sean Williams' hook in net on Landon Kells? Because everybody knows Caleb Kahn is the next coming of Christian Del Bianco in net. That's a little bit of a joke, but it's not really. I think he's going to be really good, but he's 18 years old. Are they ready to put him in? Because to me, once you pull Landon Kells, it's Caleb Kahn's net. Like, I don't... Depending on how he does. Like, if he gets blown up too, it's easy to go back to Kells. But if you pull out Kells after he lets in like 7 or 8 in the first half and you go to Caleb Kahn and he's shutting it down, you can't go back to Landon Kells until Caleb Kahn goes. So I'm wondering how long of a leash they're going to have Landon Kells before they're like, okay, we're going full in on Caleb Kahn here. So that's going to be something I watch. Last game, we get some Sunday lacrosse, and it's even better because it's going to be after the Bills game. 5 p.m., 0-0 Rochester heads to the 1-0 San Diego Seals. Phil, you took San Diego. I took Rochester, and the people's picks at 74% took Rochester. What are you looking for in this game real quick?
Yeah, I think Rochester can take it. This was one that kind of went back and forth on. I think just San Diego started really well in their first game. Their offense looked a lot better than I expected it to. The defense was shaky and only okay, but I trust O'Rig in that situation to kind of rebound a little bit. It's out in San Diego, which to me had a big part of it, and San Diego's got a game under their belt where Rochester, it's their first game of the season, so they're trying to shake off the rust where San Diego is kind of in a little bit more form. So I think it'll be close. I think San Diego would take it. I think Rochester is the better team, but in this kind of situation, I think San Diego might be able to take it. More than anything, I'm just excited to see what Rochester looks like. What does Hartley look like? What does that team look like? Because they should be good, but we say that every single year that they should be good, and then they let us down a little bit here and there. Had them going to the finals last year. They did not make the finals, so that is a letdown. They should be another really good team. And then San Diego, can they just kind of steal this game away from Rochester?
Yeah, I'm interested to see Rochester's new look, quote unquote, because they really only added Zed Williams. But if he plays in this one, that offense is going to be absolutely filthy. Like, I'm terrified of if Hartley plays as good as he did last year. This is a title winning team. But yeah, that's going to be, we're going to have to push the start to the episode because I'm going to want to watch the end of that one. But that wraps up this episode for this week. I know we went a little bit long, but we talked about the Bills for like 20 minutes, which I was not expecting. Go listen to the interview with Mackie Jenner that went out on Thursday. Check out our power rankings and our NLL Pick'em. If you're interested in participating, the Twitter poll goes out every Monday and closes on Wednesday. And then the story on Instagram for the voting goes out on Tuesday and also closes Wednesday, so we have time to do the graphics. So if you want to participate, all you got to do is just vote which team you think is going to win. Super easy. The graphics are pretty cool this year. This is out on Friday. Listen to that on your way down to the bank. I'll be in the box. Phil's going to be in a seat. We'll got you covered all weekend long. We'll be back Monday for breaking down this game, good or bad. Bills, good or bad, and Sabres, they're still around, guys. They're still around. Oh, hopefully for not much longer. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Thank you to Tap That Tapper for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. if you want to see those milestones, because I struggled a bit. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Phil's article will be dropping on Tuesday. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, bye-bye.